Wheeler, former D.C. homicide cop, and Ted Williams, former cop and 25 years an attorney. Let me get your take on it. Ted, you first. What do you think about what the federal government should do? How do you react to this?
Well, I think clearly, Geraldo, they should look at a civil rights lawsuit, at least checking it out. I remember when we had the Rodney King case. But come on, let's be very candid here. The jury has spoken, and I can tell you one of the things, and I sat in that courtroom, when Professor Carter, the black JAG officer, testified before this predominantly white jury. And Professor Carter was brought in, remember, by the prosecution. And Professor Carter was the one who, in fact, said without any uncertainty that, hey, he had taught him stand your ground, but then the defense got a hold of Professor Carter. And Professor Carter said this, and it resonated with that jury, I believe. He said you didn't have to have any injury whatsoever to invoke self-defense if you believe that you were in imminent, immediate bodily harm that could happen. You didn't have to go there. And I think the jurors relied on that.
What do you think, Rod Wheeler? What do you think about the feds, the Justice Department, and Eric Holder? What do you think the possibility is?
Well, let me just say this, Geraldo, and you've been knowing me for many, many years. I think the Justice Department definitely should take a look at this case. I mean, they should probably do it by way of going down through a grand jury. But let me say this, because I think this is important, and I've heard a lot of my co-panelists speak about how race was not involved in this. You have to try to understand and look at it from the perspective of an African American. Real quickly, Michael Vick was convicted of killing a dog, and he did 3 years in jail, but then you got a guy named Zimmerman who can shoot an African-American child, and he walks free. Just try to understand that. Let me just finish by saying this, Geraldo. Zimmerman did not shoot and kill and put a bullet in Trayvon because Trayvon is Baptist. That's not why he did it. So figure out any other reason why he did it.
But how about this, Rod? He did it because, first of all, why did the encounter start? Didn't the encounter start because there had been a series of break-ins and robberies in the community? That's why he was a neighborhood watch captain. The neighbors, white, black, and brown, appreciated George Zimmerman's activities in keeping them safe. Didn't Trayvon Martin, wasn't he a stranger in the community? Didn't he look in the 7-Eleven surveillance video? I am so sorry this happened. I am so upset for these parents now, and they go home and they get no justice. But, sometimes awful things happen to nice people. It happened here. I think the cautionary tale, shouldn't we, if we want to really remediate what happened here, first of all, should we say we have to say there's no winners here, but we have to also have to tell our children to avoid these kind of confrontations whenever you possibly can. This is a crazy world. People are responding in a crazy way. Okay, Rod, you get one last statement, and then Ted gets the one. Rod first.
Geraldo, we cannot profile, just like your own son told you, Dad, okay? You cannot profile just because...
He did.
He told you that because he told you that just because Trayvon was wearing a hoodie. Your son wears a hoodie. Nobody should profile a person, Geraldo, including your son, because of what they're wearing or because of what they look like.
Geraldo.
Okay, Ted Williams.
I got to tell you, I couldn't disagree with you more. Trayvon Martin he was a kid. He had every right to be where he was at that immediate time. It was raining. He had a right to have that hood over his face.
There is right and there is practical sense.
Well, wait a minute. What uncommon sense was he operating under at that time?
You see a guy saying, "Hey, kid, what are you doing here?" And you want to turn around and confront him? Is that the lesson you tell your son?
Hey, I tell you, if you follow somebody in the dark and you see somebody's silhouette, there's fear. There's going to be fear in you. You got one of two choices. You can take off running or you can confront him. Trayvon Martin